All right, welcome to our special after hours Monday night NFL Week 6 kind of recap special here podcast. And this week we have a special guest with us. And hey, look, I think you can tell what team maybe won tonight. And maybe the background there, I see a little Steve McNair love going on back there. I love that. Shark from Let's Be Real podcast. Does the owner of Let's Be Real Media, does the was the Memphis 5 with the Grizzlies, right? You do that?
Yeah, started 5. Yep.
So I know
Grizzly Blue Bears.
Yep. Grizzly Bear Blues.
So I know you're in the podcast game there. I think I was telling Tyler a few weeks ago when we were saying, hey, maybe we could get him on for this. I was like, I think it was like your podcast, that Let's Be Real podcast, that kind of, when you start out in the game, like doing the podcast thing, you kind of see somebody and you're like, oh, you kind of. I always kind of give you guys mad respect for kind of just giving us a little road there, a little map to follow. So
nice.
Shout out to you guys and your guys over there at Let's Be Real Sports Podcast for sure.
Nice.
Working on that for sure. Let's get right into it, my man. Great game tonight. When I knew we were going to have you on, I was like, well, hopefully it's a good game. Well, it lived up to it. You had to be pretty darn nervous there going down to the end. Why don't you just give me your initial thoughts of the game here?
Well, my initial thoughts is I'm not surprised. The Titans, we do this. We will lose to the Jets like we did 2 weeks ago, then come back and beat the Bills. That's just it's the history of the Titans. We lose to teams we're supposed to lose to and beat teams we're supposed to beat. So I'm not shocked. I expected it to be a good game, and honestly, come down to the wire. Even on that 4th and 1, I was like, we about to stop him. I just had the feeling like we about to stop him.
Oh, that was a great play. Who was the guy that made that play? I didn't even catch the name. I had it. That was an awesome play. Yeah, that was an awesome play from the get-go. It was kind of amazing to me how the Titans, their defense though has been just not. I mean, you gotta say it's probably not been the best so far this year there. So, what'd you think? Did you think the Titans would be able to keep up offensively like this? It sounds like maybe you did.
Yeah, I did. And honestly, our defense, injuries, everybody having injuries around the league, but it shouts out the game. It seemed like a player was going out every other play. At some point, I didn't think we had any cornerbacks left. Luckily, we finished it out.
I wrote down. I always do like little notes for the game, and I think I wrote a little note like, I'm seeing this guy borders on like every play. Like I don't know if he's like, is that like a bad thing? Like is he just getting abused? Or are they trying to go at this guy?
That's our 5th string. Corner.
I was like,
go
ahead. Dude.
Speaking on the corners, what happened to why did Dory Jackson get let go or not return to the team? Was it too expensive? He wasn't any good. I always thought he was a good player.
A little bit of both. He was good, but I think last season it was something. I don't know what happened. He missed most of the season. I think Mike Vrabel thought he probably should have been playing. Probably he wasn't tough enough, but I think it just got to a point. It's off season. He was going to cost $10 million on the cap. That was like we can get a more serviceable corner or somebody for less than it.
Yeah, you drafted Farley in the 1st round, and he got hurt tonight.
Hurt, exactly.
On every other play there. And then the offensive lineman, he goes down. He's one of your best players. Well.
Yeah. And actually, our best corner, he just Christian Fulton, who we drafted last year. He's our best corner. He got hurt last week, and now he's out for the next 3 weeks on IR. So.
I mean, and that's the one position I feel like you can't get too far deep in. You just can't get that far deep in the cornerback position. It's already, to me, the hardest position in football to play, in my opinion, anyways, just because of the rules and everything, for sure. So, what do you think was the turning point of the game? It was kind of back and forth there for a little bit. So, what do you think was the turning point?
Really, Derrick Henry, that 76-yard touchdown. I mean, because our offense wasn't doing anything. Like to that point, it was like 3 and out. He was barely moving the ball. Ryan Tannehill struggling earlier, but it just takes Derrick Henry that one play from that point forward. I think they said we scored every single possession from that point forward.
Do you ever feel like this is just curious? Because sometimes when I watch the Titans, I just I'm not, like I said, I don't watch every play, but sometimes I just think that's when I watch them. And do they run the ball too much? You feel like sometimes, like do they overgo? Is there ever a thing of doing over Henry? Is there a way of doing it? Like
in my opinion, yes. And not so much because he can't handle the load, more so like the first game of the season against Arizona. I went to that game. And because he's a big back, he's not a shifty back. So he gets his fair share of losses, like maybe 1-2 yards or a loss of 3 yards. And at that time, that hurts our offense because at that point you put Tannehill in the spot where it's third and long. Like I think really we should pass the ball more on first down.
Yeah. I just sometimes we get that
it
flow
around.
with them. Yeah, they do that because they do so much. Go ahead, T.
You're wearing AJ Brown's jersey. You get to watch him every day. I compared Debo Samuel to him. I don't think he's accomplished as much yet, but I think they're kind of similar players.
I can see that.
And what are your expectations for him? Because he's had kind of a slow start. He's been injured.
It's really stay
Is
healthy.
he a number one?
He is, but with Julio, they like more 1A, 1B when they're healthy because Julio went out again with the hamstring. So we need both of them to be healthy so we can see what they really are. They both only played. They barely played together this year. The first 2 games and then this game. So they missed 2 games or 3 games or so.
Yeah, they really. It's kind of weird. You guys are 4-2, but you really haven't really exploited that part of your offense that much yet. I mean, you kind of saw glimpses of it tonight though when they were on the field. Like they were just a few plays. Like Tannehill's stats overall weren't that great, but there's a few little plays there where you can see maybe some future stuff with it. The Titans to me always have I actually have one of my best friends here. He's actually a Titans fan like my whole life. So it's kind of weird. I have these random players that I know because of him all because of his Titan knowledge and stuff like that.
The Drew Bennett slants.
Yeah, the Drew Bennett. He used to kill me in Madden on those. Like I used to play against the Titan Maddens way too much because of him. Way too much. So I know you're holding the roster from the early 2000s too much. But you always seem to have, every few years good running backs. So were you around for the George era? Were you Chris? Yeah. So I mean, I know he loves George. Who was? Then you got Chris Johnson there, who didn't have the longevity, but man, he had 2 seasons that were unreal. Is there a favorite of the running backs? I know Henry's the present right now, but is there somebody that stands out?
Honestly, I say it's between Derrick Henry and Eddie George. Honestly, to me, with Chris Johnson, he was more of he was great. I mean, he gave us the fun years, but we didn't necessarily win. It didn't translate to winning. No. He didn't really make that big. He didn't make a big enough difference for us to win. Now, of course, you need to be better. We got better receivers now. We had at that time period because Derrick Mason was gone, Drew Bennett was gone. So we had the same quarterback. I kind of feel like Jeff Fisher kind of messed up the whole Vince Young era, but I would say it's between Derrick Henry and Eddie George. I just go Curry and say Derrick Henry, but I became a Titans fan because of Eddie George and Steve there.
Yeah, Eddie George. I always remember him just murdering the Raiders on week 1, the first game in Nashville. It just killed us. I watched that game. It's what a bit standing out of that one. Does Tannehill ever worry you as a Titans fan? Are you good with him now? Are you confident in him, or does he have the Matt Ryan effect kind of with you? Is that kind of where you at with that?
No, I like Tannehill. Like I said earlier, I feel like we need to pass him. I think we need to pass him more earlier downs. There's been plenty of times that he's shown in the games he comes through in the clutch, and they kind of just force the run, which I understand because Derrick Henry gets better as the game goes along. So the more you feed on, the better he gets. But it kind of hurts Tannehill in my opinion sometimes. But I'm fine with Tannehill. I am on the front that if he doesn't perform in the playoffs this year, we should go after Aaron Rodgers. And it's Aaron Rodgers though, so it's Aaron Rodgers though. So.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's not like you're downgrading there to Derek Carr. No, I'm just kidding. All right, I'm sorry. I always got to get a Derek Carr shot.
I like Derek Carr.
I know. I kind of consider him in the same Tana,
they're the same
or something like that. So. What do you think for the Titans? What do you think for the Titans next week? That moving forward, you got the Chiefs. You got the Chiefs next week. Your division, I wouldn't say is crazy hard, right? You wouldn't feel like you can win. How are you feeling about this team next week? And I guess moving forward here.
I feel pretty good. I think that loss to the Bills kind of made it too. So we got a 5-game stretch where it's the Bills, Chiefs, at the Colts. Then at the Rams, then the Saints at home. So it's that was a gauntlet.
Yeah.
And I think the Jets game, at first I was thinking we'd go 3-2 in this stretch. Because we lost to the Jets, I'm thinking we got to go 4-1 now. But the Colts kind of blowing that game last Monday has helped with that. Because I still, no matter what, because we used to always lose to the Colts all the time with Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. We never beat Andrew Luck at it. So I still get scared of the Colts. I don't care who I don't care who's under center, who they got, no matter what. I still feel like they're coming at some point.
Yeah, no doubt. And he looks like he played the Rams here on maybe is it Monday night or I think it's a Monday night.
Sunday night.
Sunday night. Yeah,
I'm actually flying out for the game.
Are you? All right. And there you go. There you go. Big timer over here. I like it. I like it going out there. I like it. Yeah, there you go. That should be a good game. I kept saying earlier in the week, I just thought it was I just felt like it was a bigger game for you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, like than the Bills. Like, I don't know. I just thought it came down to like a few yards. So it's not like the Bills like folded by any means or anything like that. Tyler asked this question last week. I'm just curious to get your thoughts since you saw Allen play tonight. Not Mahomes in the pool, but he had Allen. You have Allen, Murray, and Herbert. Who are you taking?
Ooh, Josh Allen. That's tough. That's tough. I still need to see. Justin Herbert's very good, but then you have the game against the Ravens this past week. So kind of, it's just his second year too, but I see more Allen and Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, he just makes so many. He just make crazy plays. But
I feel like that's the reason nobody goes him number one. He's just too small, right? Like we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it before, really. So it's hard to like picture that stuff. But man, he's pretty good. Man. He's
explosive.
I wish he would have stayed with my Oakland A's. That's what I always say. It was a baseball player. I want to go over there. Tyler, you got anything for? I got a few more for him.
I saw a lot of things on Twitter about how the Bills are going to take over that stadium, and I didn't notice that at all on Monday night. It looked like a great Titans crowd, and like, is that something that happens where teams come in and take over, or is that just? Yeah,
it does. Specifically the Bills and I think the Steelers. Mostly those two. And both those teams, their fan base
travel well anyway, though.
So. Yeah, so I think that happened in Vegas and LA. Yeah, that happened anywhere. But those two teams specifically. And also I did when we beat the Chiefs, what was that, 2 years ago in the regular season before we lost to them in the AFC Championship. I went to that game. There were quite a bit of Chiefs fans there, but I think that was about 50-50. But I think the Chiefs fans just came in the recently. At Mahomes.
Who's the Titans' biggest rival?
I would say honestly, crazy as it sounds, the Jaguars.
Jaguars, yeah.
That's the most hated rival with them.
Really?
That's the team like it's bad. It's just bad blood. That's the reason Derrick Henry every time he played them. I don't know. I think he's from Jacksonville, but every time he played them, that's when he does.
I would have never guessed that. That would not have been. Tyler, would you have guessed the Jaguars?
Yeah, I didn't know they had a fan base like in Jacksonville to even to support like a rivalry, really.
Yeah, we hate each other. I think just the biggest rival for hatred wise, but winning just good teams. It probably had to be the Colts or like the Steelers. I say the Colts and Steelers for just actual competitive rivalry. One of those two.
I think my buddy Nick says the Ravens. He was not a Ravens fan.
Oh yeah. Ooh, I have to get the Ravens. Yeah, that. So just like Jacksonville, they probably the next hated rivalry. But I think we don't play them. I think we play the Steelers.
Steelers. Yeah, I know. Yeah, because I mean the Ray Lewis days. Even
back in the day when we played them that year, it was different.
And did McNair come back and play him on the Ravens? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That had to be bittersweet on that.
Bad years.
Sad years at that point.
Derek Mason, McNair.
Yeah, a lot of them right there.
So Amari Rowe left and went there.
So who do you like this? Let's kind of go big picture, I guess, for a few minutes here. Who do you like? Who's kind of your Super Bowl prediction here? Are you staying with your pick at the beginning of the year? Are you coming off that, or who you got still?
So I had the Chiefs, and I still believe the Chiefs are going to get rolling. I don't believe what they are now is who they are. I do believe they're going to get it going at some point, but they are the most vulnerable this year than they have been in years past. So as of now, it's still so early. Like I said, it's week 6, so I think I had the Chiefs and the Packers.
Yeah. Okay. You're looking good then. You're looking good. Yeah, I feel like with the Chiefs, we kind of do this every year with a team that's really good. You remember the Patriots teams were like, they'd start out 2-2 or like something like that. Like, oh my gosh, the world is over. And then by Halloween, it's like, they're fine again. And like the division isn't the Chargers. Tyler has them going to the Super Bowl. That was a ballsy pick on his choice there. But I don't see them. I don't see the Chargers holding them off. And I certainly don't see the Raiders holding off. So I think the Chiefs are kind of like what are they'll get it going at some point. It's just they got guys out too, like everybody. So once you get
even last year with the Bucks against the Saints, when the Saints blew them out, everyone was counting the Bucks out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, so that always happens kind of on stuff like that. We're kind of week to week in football like that. Well, a couple more here that will get you out of here. Thanks for, like I said, coming on again. I was listening to your podcast, your Let's Tighten Up podcast. What was your guest that you had on last week?
Ryan Harris. He becoming a superstar. He's been on 3. He came on my show. He came on another tight show, I think, yesterday and today.
Okay, so he's really tightening up right now. He's really tightening up. He's really getting it all in there. What you guys were talking about, I didn't know this about the Titans. I didn't know that when they first moved here, they moved to actually Memphis. They played in Memphis, and they played it for 1 or 2 seasons in that. It's the Liberty Bowl, right? That they played in there. So you guys were talking about that 2 seasons, you said?
It was 1 year. It was supposed to be 2 years, but they only played for 1 because Memphis, like some years in Memphis. At that time, I was like 6. So I think I started watching football when they first went to the Super Bowl. So that was in Nashville, their second year in Nashville. So at that time, I don't remember the time. It's like just I was like young. So, but Memphis, we support you if you are ours. And it was always planned for them to go to Nashville. They were just coming in Memphis because we had the bigger stadium, Liberty Bowl, while they were building a stadium in Nashville. So Memphis fans didn't support. I think it was 1 game against the Steelers. It was all Steelers fans in the stands. I think when the Raiders came, it was all Raiders fans in the stands. And they just said, "No, we can't do this." They went and played at Vanderbilt Stadium.
So when we had Savage on, he wasn't lying. Memphis is a completely different state from the rest of Tennessee. Then. That's what I remember him saying. I was like, oh, that's, you know what I mean? Living out here, like the farthest left coast you can get, you don't think of like little things like that, and you're like a little community like that. But I did ask him this question, and I'm curious to get yours on it, because you do the Grizzlies thing. Who is the biggest? Who's the most popular team? Not in Memphis, like the state of Tennessee.
The state of Tennessee,
like college football, like anything. What is the main sport in your opinion there?
Right, Tennessee Vols football.
Yeah,
no matter how, and that's one of my favorite teams. No matter how,
when we get
actually, they are. I mean, because maybe Memphis basketball is close.
So the Titans. I would have thought the Titans would have had the biggest fan base in that state. No, and they're not even close there.
It's
college football just rules too much. Were you at the game throwing stuff at Lane?
No.
Little mustard.
I never been to a Tennessee football game. Yeah, we're in Knoxville. I've been to when they came to Memphis last time they played back when I was in college.
Okay. Yeah, no. Go ahead, did you?
So how close is Knoxville to Memphis? And then obviously there's hatred for Lane Kiffin with what he did and what happened. Just what were your thoughts on that whole game after you say the proximity of Memphis?
Yeah, first we're like 6.5 hours because it's literally like we're on the west side of the state and Knoxville's on the far east side of the state, so it's literally no connection. That's why I don't understand. I guess Memphis, Tennessee are big rivals, but I kind of like we're so far away. Like why do Memphis like really want to play Tennessee so bad? But I guess like the whole big school, smaller school thing. Yeah. But the whole thing with Lane Kiffin, I knew it was gonna get heated, but to the point that fans throwing stuff like it should never get to that point. I know the referees didn't necessarily call a good game. We had a touchdown that should have stood early in the game. That was the difference in the game that we probably won the game. But to throw stuff on the stand, throw stuff on the field. I don't know how you got a mustard bottle in there, a golf ball. I don't know how they got your stuff in there for one.
I forgot about the golf ball.
Yeah,
the golf ball now. So I was just curious. I didn't know about the Memphis Titans stadium there, and like I was curious. So would you say in Memphis the Titans love isn't quite the same? Like, do you feel like you're, you know what I mean? Like, there's not people that are walking around in Titans jerseys like you right now or something like that.
No, it's Cowboys and Steelers country over here. And 49ers third.
Really, the Niners.
It's most of the older people.
No,
it's quite a bit of Raiders, but I think it's them at there. It's probably them and Titans probably tied.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're one of those states that came in late with a team, right? So, I mean, you're going to have these other families. You guys it's probably going to take another like 40 years to get, you know what I mean? Like, you got to like generations to get going on this thing. Well, before you get out of here again, thanks for joining us here.
I have one more question.
Yeah, that's fine. I got one more for you too. Go ahead.
Savage told me to ask you why you quit being a Bulls.
You did a whole episode on there. It was actually called his PShark Bulls fan. But pretty simple. So the history was I was a Bulls fan. My whole family was Bulls fans, right? And I didn't see Jordan live, but I saw a lot of old games and stuff. So I became a fan when they were already bad. Like they had Ron Mercer, Crawford when he was
Marcus
young.
Pfizer.
Yeah, Marcus Pfizer, Tyson Chandler, Eddie Curry, that Ricky in sophomore years. That's when I became
Khalid El Abid.
Actually, Elton Brand. We actually had Elton Brand. We traded him.
Yeah.
To get Eddie Curry and Tyson Chandler, and we had Ron Artest. So it's just like I was a fan when they were bad, and I stuck through a tough times. He got good with Derrick Rose, and he got hurt and all this stuff. So really what happened is I never truly had a favorite NBA player, but I gravitated towards Jimmy Butler. And I guess like his upbringing and just his demeanor and how he plays, it was kind of fit like my mindset and even the city of Memphis, how we are grind city. So he became my favorite player. So once he got to a point, once they was talking about trading him, then they actually did trade him. Then what they got back for him was like, well, Zach LaVine turned out, he's turning out to be good. But it's like, just what y'all got back. So I still stuck with them because they traded him to Minnesota. I was like, I can't see myself being on Minnesota.
That's tough.
Yeah, that's tough, man. You're not right.
But what helped was what really helped is we had the Grizzlies, and throughout my life, when the Grizzlies and Bulls would play, I was always torn on who I wanted to win anyway. Because hometown versus my favorite team, it was like it kind of made it easier to like, okay, they traded Jimmy Butler. Okay, I could just gravitate towards being a Grizzlies fan and still follow him and support him wherever he go.
Yeah. That's right. Yes. So how are you feeling about the Grizzlies this year? They making the playoffs?
Yep. We feel like they will. I think it's gonna come down when they make everything they did this offseason was gravitated around Jaren Jackson Jr. staying healthy and becoming a player. Yep, got paid today. So it really comes down to him because I went to the first preseason game. I'm actually going to the first regular season game is Wednesday. I think and I don't really take too much to preseason, but he is doing stuff that I said he need to work on, like to get that mid-range jump. He's actually taking shots with confidence now from the mid-range. I know really 3-point is fine, but I was like, if he just gets a little pull-up like Russell Westbrook, like that helps out a whole lot. And Jaren Jackson just staying healthy. He's productive when he's healthy. He struggled something in the last season because he missed the whole season because he was hurt. So I just need him to stay healthy. I think it should be fine.
Taylor loves Jaren Jackson. I'm not. Yeah, I think I always talk about you guys. I feel like I always say that the Raiders linebacker situation is the Grizzlies small forward situation. They never have one. So we'll see if you guys can develop one this year. We'll see if you guys can finally. You drafted one. You could have got Moody. You guys passed on Moody. We got him. The Warriors got him. We're feeling good about him in Warriors land over here. So yeah, NBA around the corner. All right. So my last question was, and maybe you answered it earlier. Is Eddie George your favorite player of all time on the Titans, or do you have somebody else who else?
Steve in there.
Yeah, it's got to be from most Titans. It's the same with my buddy. Yeah. And watching him, he was a pain. He was a real pain in the you-know-what playing against.
I actually have his jersey downstairs. I got him AJ Brown's jersey, so.
What's your favorite moment of his game? Like, what's a game that sticks out to you that maybe, like, as a Raiders fan, I might even I have a few in my head, but you have so many more. What's one that that stuck out to you?
The Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl, yeah.
I know we lost and came 1 yard short. It's just the final play, for the final possession period. I just remember the play where he's supposed to have been sacked, and he had found a way to break out the sack.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
I was like, that's really where I became like a just huge fan of his. I still remember. The day he died, it kind of ruined it was the 4th of July. I was in high school. It ruined like my whole day. It was like, wow.
Yeah, that was shocking. Yeah, that was very shocking there. Yeah, I remember going to the AFC Championship game when the Raiders
played child.
And he was they lost. So I want to bring that up first of all.
Yeah.
But I just remember watching it live thinking he was like, seriously, you guys were not that good that year. And he was like just carrying you guys to like, they still scored like 31 points. And like, I was like, just thinking, I just remember walking away thinking, yeah, I'm excited, but man, he's really good too. that game sticks out because seeing it in person and just the beating he takes and the movement, just a 3rd and 6, he gets 7, or just like he had a knack for like little things like that. So yeah, he was definitely the best player on
the most impressive thing I remember about McNair is he won the MVP and I split it with Manny. And I don't think he practiced more than 10 times that whole year because he was always hurt. And he showed up and he still won the MVP. I was like, who is this guy?
He stayed hurt. Like you saw the way he walked. It's just like
yeah, he should have
had the Allen Iverson rant.
Yeah, he should have. Practice. He needs practice. He doesn't need it. Well, man, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. You joining us on the podcast. Like I said, I've been watching your stuff for a while. So it's just good to have you on after the game, get your thoughts on the Titans, and best of luck to you and your endeavors and the other podcasts you got going on. I know you got a lot of stuff you're doing there. Anything you want to promote, shout out, anything?
Of course, like I said, thanks y'all for just supporting us. Like I said, we support y'all as well. Enjoy y'all shows. Enjoy again the West Coast side. Like I said, this will be my first time going to. Well, I've been in Vegas one time last year, but this will be my first time going to LA.
Okay.
We're going past Vegas, and I only been there once. I've been to Albuquerque. That's the farthest I've been in West Coast. So just seeing different perspectives, especially Golden State playing for play in. That was
that was fun. That would hurt a little bit. Thanks for telling us about that. Yeah. How's Tony Alley doing right now? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, that was great. That
no, for sure. But yeah, I know you got all that stuff going on. Best of luck with it, my man. Again, appreciate it, and maybe we can have you on Titans, maybe in the playoffs or something like that later on. That'd be cool.
It's the Raiders.
Cool. All right, man. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you.